Mina Kime's going to join us here in a little bit. Mike Ryan has been doing this bit of real podcast or fake podcast, and I have seen that on Netflix there is a new podcast with Michael Irvin, and he has called it White House, which is, to me, a stunning name for his podcast, given that the White House famously was a house that the champion Dallas Cowboys had where they would have parties and, affairs with people who weren't their wives. They called the secret house that was conducted and run by Michael Irvin the White House. I reported that many years ago in the 23rd paragraph of a Super Bowl column. I didn't report that the Tampa Bay Bucks also had one called the Bat Cave. I am surprised, though, that Michael Irvin is, for all the names that he could have chosen for his podcast, he's chosen White House as the name for his podcast.
You know who I thought of immediately? Jeff Pearlman, because Netflix is just stealing his IP.
That happens a good amount to Jeff Pearlman.
And sure enough, I went right to his IG, and there was just, with no caption, a screen cap of the press release.
Speaking of the White House, we've got the talk of Masvidal and Conor McGregor fighting on the White House lawn. What? How did you guys feel about, as Panther fans, how do you guys feel about the lovable Kachuk as he makes his trip to the White House, cozying up to Trump, the orange grifting felonious turd? How do you feel about that? Like, as Panther fans, is it disappointing to you to see, or are you now numb to it?
I don't have a problem separating the two. To me, it was Matthew Kachuk enjoying the honor of being at the White House. Like, I don't know.
You can do that without overpraising.
Yeah, he did. You're right.
He did overpraise him this year, which is what I kind of told myself last year to pacify myself during that, which is like, he didn't say much, but Matty is genuinely very proud to be an American and embraces the role
which is okay.
of USA hockey. But yeah, I'm bummed. And, it's kind of funny that the story arc of stick to sports, keep politics out of sports, everything that I love, this guy's unavoidable. I'm a Chelsea fan. He's on the stage celebrating with my team during the Club World Cup. I think whatever side of the aisle you're on, you don't want this guy showing up to your games because it makes going into the game a huge pain in the ass. I was like, in the national title game, you got to ruin this for me too? And so, yeah, I hate it. And this guy, he is very good at sticking himself in sporting events. He had a genius move at the Daytona 500 for his branding. That all works out. But all the sports that I like, he is always injecting himself into it. And it's funny how that doesn't matter when it's your guy injecting himself.
Myopic millionaire.
I thought it was funny that the day after appearing with Trump at the White House, the Panthers lost 9-1.
That was funny to you?
I just got a smile out of that. But I will say that I don't think most fans care. I think 55% of Panthers fans sort of cringed at that, and then the next day they're cheering for their team. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I think you also have to acknowledge too the Florida Panthers as an organization, ownership, like they're
that's
very,
right,
very
super,
very into. I mean, they're very. I don't know. I would necessarily say pro-Trump, but this country, the United States, is a very big
Wasn't
deal
Vinny
to that
Viola
ownership.
under consideration for a cabinet position that he had to withdraw
I think so.
from?
He's a West Point guy.
Yeah, he's a West Point guy, and in terms of
It's a
like
big
that
deal.
honor, that comes from the very top,
big deal.
and it trickles on down to the rest of the team.
I'm not kidding about the myopic millionaire thing. These are 25-year-olds who have the world by the tail. They're not engaged with deep diving in politics. They're getting something out of that. That's the end of the story. The larger concern is that top 5 NHL forward all time, Wayne Gretzky, has turned his back on his homeland to support what goes on down here in Florida.
That's a much
and Puck
bigger
and
deal.
otherwise.
Yeah.
If you're a 25-year-old myopic millionaire, you're on the internet. You know what's happening. Like, you could see why right now going out of your way to be extra proud to be an American
you're right
is a
about
thing.
that.
Quote, the 2 cups was pretty good, but that walk with you might have trumped it all. Nothing beats this. I'm so proud to be an American and so proud to be here with you. Nah.
I don't know that you're right about that.
Matthew Kachuk doesn't have the internet. The guy who's like floating out stuff about going to the
I
national
think we
championship
are
and being fun and
I
playing
think
the
we're
media.
underestimating the things that some of these guys pay attention to and the bubble that they live in.
Look, I get it, but right now it's pretty tough to avoid what's been happening over the last couple
What
of
they're
weeks.
reacting to, though,
Like, come on.
Taché, is the taxes. I mean, really, these are super duper rich people who are looking at selfishly at their bottom line and not much beyond anything else.
Super duper rich white people in particular.
She's an NFL analyst on ESPN, the host of the Mina Show featuring Lenny, which I strongly recommend to all of you. I can tell from simply the look on her face. She does not want to in on this conversation. So let's talk about the Bills press conference that just got done and the television show The Traitors. Have you guys watched The Traitors at all? Do you guys know what that show is? Because she occasionally just gets obsessed with some reality competitions, and she's obsessed with this one.
So I know her and David Dennis Jr. are like all over this show. I don't know about it, but like I'm interested because I know they've been talking about it.
I thought it was a show about Jimmy Butler leaving the Heat last year. I guess I was wrong.
You will like this detail, Dan, because David and I do a podcast. It's a TV podcast called Viewer Discretion. Literally, why I'm here is to promote my own work and to hang out with you guys. But the premise of the show, The Traitors, is kind of like Mafia, right? Where they're trying to suss out who the bad guys are. There are secret killers amongst them. And so the cast, which is mostly comprised of a group called the Faithfuls, gets the opportunity pretty much every week to vote out someone they think is a traitor. This is not a spoiler. Enough time has passed. But if you're watching it, whatever. Dan, Michael Rappaport was so despised by everybody on this show that they voted him out even though nobody actually thought he was a traitor, purely because they didn't want to hang out with him anymore. They burned a vote completely because he was so unlikable.
He's awful. Like, Rappaport is the worst, and that is wildly unsurprising.
Mina, what was your reaction to the way he was eating, like with the plate in his mouth?
My reaction to that, and maybe this is from being on television for too long now, is the producers must hate him as much as everybody on the show to include like 10 scenes of him eating like I have a 2-year-old who eats with more decorum than that.
The lip of the plate is in his mouth.
Disgusting.
So funny. You're an adult.
In our group of people here, who do you think would do best here on The Traitors?
Oh, definitely not Mike Ryan. That's easy no. I can explain my thinking there. Dan, no. I think Greg would do the best.
So who are the traitors and who are the faithful among our group here?
Well, I feel like if Chris Cody was a traitor, I would know within 2 seconds. Zaz has strong, loud, faithful, accusing a lot of traitors vibes.
Loyalty is a big trait of mine, all right?
Dan, faithful who does too much and gets eliminated early. Lucy, absolute traitor.
Yes. I'm a phenomenal liar.
Is that a good thing, being a traitor? I got to watch this show. You've piqued my interest.
Well, you don't get to they choose who's the traitor. Alan Cummings goes around and taps people, who, by the way, is unbelievable on this show. Probably the best hosting performance I've ever seen by anyone.
I don't really know the rules or really anything about this game, but I'm offended you don't think I'm good at it.
You're not a good liar.
We saw how Miami did earlier this week.
What did you think, Mina, of this Bills press conference where they're saying McDermott's fired because of the Denver loss? The owner is saying is ripping Keon Coleman, which I understand, but probably unnecessary. What are your thoughts?
I thought it was an absolute disaster. I did this video where I was ranking head coaching jobs before the Bills job opened, and I had Baltimore #1 for obvious reasons. And people said, well, now that the Bills job's open, would you put it #1? Because Josh Allen. No! This is Exhibit A. Like, you want to work for the ownership who not just backed the bus over Sean McDermott, also threw one of his own players under the bus in Keon Coleman. I thought it was one of the weirdest press conferences I've ever seen, quite frankly. Like, zero reason for him to jump in there, do the thing that most owners do, and leak it to a reporter as an anonymous source. Like, what? Like, that was so crazy. And also, I'm not sure true, right? Like, so we're really absolving the GM of your top draft pick that year of any responsibility, setting aside the numerous other bad draft picks that he's made and bad free agency signings. So I thought it was really in poor taste, honestly. And it shows why they don't let owners talk that much, to be frank.
Here is Bills owner Terry Pagula talking about failed first-round pick wide receiver Keon Coleman.
Yeah, can I interrupt? I'll address the Keon situation. The coaching staff pushed to draft Keon. I'm not saying Brandon wouldn't have drafted him, but he wasn't his next choice. That was Brandon being a team player and taking advice of his coaching staff, who felt strongly about the player. And, he's taken, for some reason, heat over it and not saying a word about it. But I'm here to tell you the true story.
Can I interrupt here, Mina? Can I interrupt? He's protecting the GM that he's promoted, right?
And at the expense of not just Sean McDermott, Keon Coleman, who last I checked is still on the team, but also the coaching staff. I mean, there's a possibility they promote Joe Brady or at minimum keep him. Like I literally everybody in the building except for Brandon Beane feels like is being thrown under the bus. I do not understand any logic behind saying that in public. But I didn't understand the firing to begin with, Dan. I thought they should have kept McDermott, and at minimum, they should have, if they were going to get rid of him, I thought really evaluate the GM, certainly not promote him, because when I was watching the Bills this weekend, I thought the biggest issue, other than Allen's performance, was the construction of the roster, not the coaching. And he gets a promotion out of this. The guy who, by the way, last summer, you guys remember this, had one of the all-time sports radio moments when he got visibly angry at the idea that the receiver group that he had assembled wasn't enough.
How quickly is Keon Coleman's agent on the phone with the team now?
I mean, it's still a good spot for him is the thing, right? I think the question is going to be who they bring in as a coach or who ends up getting that job. But I would be pretty upset if I was him, and validly so.
Mina, we haven't talked about it on the show. The San Francisco 49ers for seasons now have been riddled with injuries, and there was a social media post about their training facility being next to a power plant and how that is actually affecting these players' bodies. Now, it was interesting because what's happened to them has been super random. Do you put any stock into this whatsoever?
It's not my expertise. I will say that I have looked into that theory. I have read the articles about it. I cannot. The thing about the injuries that's so crazy is they're on both, and why I think people are even doing the conspiracy theories. Both sides of the ball, contact and non-contact, in different locations. There's no. It's not like you can point to and say, well, Kyle Shanahan's offense exposes. Nope, it's defense too. Well, it's on these fields. Nope, it's on every field. I don't know, man. I maybe this is the revenge on the tech industry or something karmically, because I cannot, which is not to say that all Niners fans are complicit there, but I just cannot understand what's going on in San Francisco. It's inexplicable.
Isn't it just football? Football hurts. People get injured.
But why does it happen to them more than anybody else? And there was we should find the entire thread, but the argument was long-term exposure to the forces that emanate from a power plant do wear your body down, make you more brittle, and make you more susceptible to getting injured. I am not a doctor, but it was interesting to see some outside-the-box thinking to explain something that has been one of the NFL's great mysteries, which is why are the Niners always having to dig themselves out of these injury holes?
The thing that I have speculated on, Mike, is that the Niners play a lot of football because they're so good every year. They're so well coached. They make these deep playoff runs. They're not the only team. It's not like they played more football than the Kansas City Chiefs, who, by the way, had their own spate of injuries, right? But I do think playing more football tends to lead to more injuries. So if I had to come up with an explanation, It doesn't explain all of it because there's, like I said, there's other teams that have played a lot of football that haven't experienced the same degree of it. But I think it's bad luck coupled with the fact that this is a team that has been in the postseason so many times.
You say that, but the Eagles are the least injured team in the sport.
Well, like I was saying, there's teams that have gotten luckier. I don't
Well,
know.
I just
will
think-
say the Eagles' offensive line got really hurt this year, and I think that was a big factor.
I just think it's random, right? And we can
It's
go
random.
power plants and everything else, but I don't think anybody can prevent injuries, and I'm not sure that there's any reason that there would be more caused, especially given how strict the union is now about how teams practice, right?
Yeah, my thing is just that they played a lot of games. It's not about practices. But like you said, the Eagles have also played a lot of games. There's other teams that have played a lot of games. They're not the only team that has. But if I had to just isolate one thing that is a little bit different about this team from a lot of other teams, it's that.
Can we talk about another NFC West team, the one that Mina Kimes roots for, that has been more or less irrelevant in January and February since Malcolm Butler a number of years ago? The biggest game in Hawks lore since that night. How say you, Mina Kimes? Are you excited over your skis?
What is how say you?
Yeah. Hey, Dave.
Mina Kimes,
Dave, you're the only person who I've ever heard say "How say you" in casual conversation.
national champion, Dave.
If I didn't see you, I would have known it was you. I'm very excited. I still cautious, still a little bit apprehensive, but I think this defense is so good, and I believe in it so much, and I think it's the single best unit left in the playoffs on any of the four teams, and that is giving me a lot of confidence.
Who's better, Seattle or the Rams?
I think Seattle's better, to be honest.
And it's based on what, given the two games this year? In the first one, Seattle has a 4 turnover disadvantage,
Yeah.
is still kicking for the win at the end, and the last one was just a fluke that Seattle won.
Well, I don't think that's exactly true that it was a fluke. I think because I was just coming back, I just watched it yesterday to preview the game. I think that the Rams offense is really good, and I think it's capable of high highs. But we're coming off of a bad Matthew Stafford performance. I think the pass protection is showing some issues, and I think the Seahawks defense, the third time around, I like the idea of them from a scheme perspective, especially again what we've seen from some of the vulnerabilities shown by the Rams offense in the last couple of rounds. And then on the other side of the ball, I think the first time these teams played, Sam Darnold, absolute meltdown, no question about that. And then he struggled for a few weeks. But since then, and you saw this the last time these teams played in Week 16, Seattle has become better and better at running the football. This was a huge weakness of theirs for much of the season. This was a big piece of skepticism I had. And I think you've seen that it has the ability to settle Darnold. I think you saw that in the last round, right? Darnold barely had to do anything, but he played calmly. And the Seahawks were kind of like the NFC Texans. And I think that was like a real study in contrast because both defenses were awesome, but on one side, the offense completely melted down. On the other, it was like a calm, patient performance. And that gave me, I think, a pretty higher degree of confidence going forward.
Mina, is it surprising how much attention Mike McDaniel's gotten?
No. Well, you mean getting the Chargers job and such? Or?
Well, and I mean, he certainly has head coaching opportunities as well.
I think some of it has to do with like supply and demand. So right now I feel that there's a lot of really great defensive coaches. There are very few good offensive ones. This is not like last year with Ben Johnson and Liam Cohen, right? And so when you're looking across the league and you're like, okay, well, everybody wants a great play caller, ideally as a head coach. It's not surprising that Mike McDaniel, who I think everybody agrees is still a great play caller, who was hampered by the quarterback, had a lot of options. And I think like the Chargers job is a dream for him and for the Chargers. So not surprising to me. It might have been surprising in a different market, but this is one that was very defense focused.
Mina, speaking of McDaniel, the Dolphins tend to live under the radar nationally, but they've made some news turning themselves into Green Bay South. What do you think of them hiring Jeff Hafley? How's that?
Yeah. So I'm always like hesitant to give a strong take about a head coach hire, to be honest, because I think it's a lot harder to project versus like a head coach firing. I will have strong opinions about because you see guys all the time and they end up being great or bad, and it comes as a complete surprise. Other than Urban Meyer, we all knew that was gonna be horrible, right? And Hafley, I think like for year one in Green Bay, very impressive improvement. Year two, I thought, I think it's kind of fell apart without Micah Parsons. So it's hard for me to know exactly how good he's going to be. People speak really highly of him, people I trust. But I will say this. I look around the league and I see so many situations where the coach was fired and the GM, for some reason, the reason is they sit in the owner's box and they talk to the owners, kept their jobs. Many cases around the league. If I'm a Dolphins fan, I love the fact that we cleaned house, starting anew, and we've got the GM and the head coach not only coming from the same place, but on the same timeline. This is a rebuild. No Dolphins fan thinks they're going to compete next year. Fine. You don't have a GM making dumb panic moves to save his job because everybody knows this is a rebuild. And so I think that would be my most optimistic take about Miami, is that they ripped the Band-Aid off and they're starting over with both at the same time.
Where are you on CJ Stroud?
Ooh, buddy, that was rough. Okay. I think the thing I'll say is, going back and watching that game, the thing that struck me was not just Stroud, and he was very bad in it, right? Not just the interception, the turnovers, but also he was missing throws. The whole offense was a disaster in that game. The offensive line was a disaster. There was no run game. The receivers were dropping passes. And I think what you saw from him is something you have seen from him at other points, certainly in the last round as well, which is he is making a bad situation worse. And I think that is something he has to fix. As to whether he can do it, I think the optimistic case would be the situation can't be worse than what it was in that game. He's very young still. I know we think of him as being, he's really still pretty young. He's like 24. Now, that would still make me nervous about giving him a big extension, but I'm not selling it off altogether if I'm Houston. And that's going to be the hard line that they've got to walk, right? Like, how do you give him more time and leeway without, crippling yourself financially? And they're going to have to figure that out.
I had the opinion watching that game when I heard Swagoo say that, you got to think about benching him for Davis Mills. I'm like, you cannot do that to that quarterback unless you're moving off of him. Like, if you're going to take him out in that spot, you've got to be telling everybody CJ Stroud is no longer our quarterback. What are your thoughts halfway through that game? So he's got the 4 or 5 fumbles in the first game of the playoffs. No one's ever had this incompetent a playoff run where you have that many turnovers that way in game 1 and game 2. What were your thoughts? That game could have still been won by that defense, given how they were strangling the Patriots. You would have made a quarterback change, yes or no?
I probably would not have done it, to be honest, because I think while it would have been one thing if everything around CJ Stroud was good and he was bad, but everything around him was awful, and I'm not of the belief that putting in a quarterback who I don't think is, a great quarterback, to be blunt, is going to be that much better than what we saw. It's tough, though. Like, the thing I'll say about him, too, is in the previous round, it was a weird one, Dan, because he turned the ball over, but outside of the fumbles in the first round, he actually made a lot of really good throws. So we come out of that game, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, he turned the ball over, he had some boneheaded moments, but he was at least making plays. He threw some beautiful, and then this game, it was like both the bad decisions and the misses. So it's tough. Obviously they'll give him at least the option. I wouldn't be surprised if they extend him, and people are very upset about it, though, to be honest.
Let's put up that photo of William Shatner here and get Mina's opinion on this in the car. What are your thoughts, Mina, on William Shatner, 94 years old, driving an automobile while eating cereal? I remember my grandma in her late 80s calling me all excited. She's like, I got my license renewed. I got my license renewed by mail. I didn't even have to go into the DMV. And I'm like, Grandma, they don't want you driving to the DMV to get your license. They don't want you in a car. Shatner at 94 eating cereal at a stoplight. Your thoughts?
You know what's so crazy about this photo to me, which I've seen? Not that he's eating cereal, not even that he's eating it with a spoon and a bowl, but there appears to be milk in there.
Yes.
That's what's crazy, right? Because
Yes.
who among us has not carried around a little box of dry cereal and reached in from time to time as a road snack? Of
course.
But to do it with milk is psychotic behavior.
Also psychotic is both Lucy and Jeremy and actually Cody as well arguing that Diet Coke and Diet Root Beer are just as good and sometimes better
You're
than...
butchering that. That's not what I said. That's not literally not even what I said at all.
What'd you say? What's the take?
I said that Diet Coke is not a substitute for Coke, but it is better than Coke. And Dan is trying to say that I'm saying that stuff that has less sugar tastes better than stuff with sugar, and that's just straight up not true.
And I
that's
said
a
that
lie.
zero
That's
sugar
propaganda.
root beer is the closest to a replacement for the original root beer, and that like Coke Zero does not taste as much like Coke as root beer zero sugar tastes like root beer.
How say you?
I haven't had Coke or Diet Coke in maybe 20 years.
Oh, you're one of those. All right.
Yeah.
Since High School Musical came
Yeah,
out.
too good for Diet
The
Coke.
best of times.
Don't judge us. You're judging us.
I'm not judging you. I'm just not trying to speak on something that I don't like. If I feel like if I had a single sip of Coke right now,
let's
I
do
would
this.
spin out.
How about the theory uttered by Dave Damashek that conditioner is a grift meant to dupe people who should just have soap, that you don't need anything other than shampoo, you don't need conditioner?
Well, on this, I am a subject matter expert. And get at me, companies. And my hair looks significantly worse when I don't use conditioner. Dave, this might be a skill issue for you, in that like you're not getting the most out of it. Although maybe it's different for men, and I don't know. But I if you have long hair and a lot of it like I do, you absolutely need conditioner because otherwise your hair just kind of limp and lays there.
Oh, if I had the head of hair I had when I was 22, now I would be a U.S. Senator.
All right, just drop a pic. Let's see it. And that voice, come on.
You got pretty good hair. What's wrong with your hair right now?
Oh, I'm doing all right, Dan. I'm not complaining given my age. You know what, though? Kimes and I disagree on a number of issues. The most significant one that I know she's now here to say publicly I have been right about all along. QB wins in the postseason matter.
Lord.
Why is Sean
Yeah.
McDermott out? Why is Mike Tomlin out? Obviously, our reaction to C.J. Stroud and whether or not the Texans should go forward with him is owed to the last two games we saw in
What are
the
you
postseason.
talking about? C.J. Stroud is a perfect case study for why QB wins are stupid. He won in the first round.
Bad
We
in
were
the-
literally just talking about how he didn't play well, but he won. But by your metric, it was a great performance.
That's a
because he won a playoff
60-minute
game.
sample overall. Why is Sam Darnold diminished by football Americans broadly? Because he doesn't take care of business when the games matter most. Now, last week, and even more so this week, he has a chance to wash that stink off with soap, not
Wow.
conditioner.
So, Sam Darnold, he's better than Josh Allen, right? Because QB wins.
I mean, you can
QB
use the dummy guy voice to try to make your point.
QB wins.
Obviously, it's not that extreme. Nobody
wins.
thinks Trent Dilfer is better than Dan
put that
Marino.
one out there.
Here's
Don't
a good
put
one
that
though.
out. I don't know why I did that with my hands.
Here's a good one, Kimes. Here's the question for you that proves the point. Whose career would you rather have had, Dan Marino's or Eli Manning's?
We're not talking about whose career you'd rather have.
QB
That's not our
wins
job
are
as
the
analysts and
defining aspect
opinionators.
of a career.
What is this? Is that?
It's a
what
puppet.
is
It's the
that?
Muppet.
It's the Damashek puppet.
National champion and ruggedly handsome Muppet Dave.
Is that a real puppet?
I like
or?
the orange one better.
We're trying to make one. We're trying to make a
All right, keep that
Damashek
slap out of
puppet
you.
that
Come
goes.
on.
Are you guys done with the argument? I was hoping you'd do it for the rest of the segment. Is that it? You're done arguing?
There
Because
is no argument. There is no argument. It's just people screaming, QB wins.
your Twitter bio says QB wins are not a stat.
There was no answer though to the question whose career.
I
would
literally gave
prefer
you
to
an answer
have?
to the question, which is this playoffs is a great illustration of how stupid it is.
She
We
got
literally
your
just had an
ass.
entire
Marino.
conversation about a guy who won a playoff game despite playing
The
poorly.
Texans may not ultimately move forward with the franchise, the apparent franchise quarterback, because of his performance in these playoffs.
His performance, not because they lost. If he had been awesome in that game and they had still lost, do you think we'd even be having this conversation?
Absolutely. We would be having the Blake Bortles
No!
is the
No!
detriment
You know
of the
that's not true.
Jacksonville
Thomas,
Jaguars.
Hey, be
What
quiet.
do you
Everybody
say?
else.
Star.
If CJ Stroud had been awesome in that game and they had lost and they had gone toe-to-toe with Drake May, Dan, would you have asked me, what are the Texans going to do about CJ Stroud?
Not in that voice. I don't know why. I don't know why you gave me that.
How
Opie
pumped
voice.
is Dan to ask for more fighting and get it?
You know who always showed up in big games, Lucy?
Troy Bolton.
That's right.
Happy anniversary, High School Musical. We've been dying to talk about it all day.
Yeah, I noticed
talk
twice.
nonstop.
I'm not going to let you. Stidham, your thoughts?
I just watched both of his preseason games. I've been waiting all morning for someone to ask me about Jarrett Stidham.
Got to get your head in the game.
First of all, Jarrett Stidham, by Dave's logic, he's 2-0, baby, this year. So that he must be the best quarterback in the NFL, right? He won those 2 games against the San Francisco and Arizona Cardinals in the preseason. QB wins. Okay, my thoughts are he did look good in those games. I thought his preseason caveats, all of that. I thought he looked accurate. He threw some balls downfield, particularly in the Arizona game. I thought he made some legitimately impressive throws and flashed some athleticism. So this is not like a nightmare backup quarterback situation by any means. That said, I do think the Patriots defense in particular, based on what we've seen over the last few weeks, is going to throw a lot of really confusing pressures and coverages at him. So it's going to be very challenging for him. And obviously I'm picking New England here, but he is capable of functional quarterback play.
He's soaring and he's flying.
Yeah, if the Broncos win, this could be the start of something new.
Top to the top.
Those High School Musical references, because I'm going to have to.
Yes, of course. The booty
kibosh on
catch.
that one
The booty catch. Can you?
Bob Greasy completed or attempted 4 more passes than I did in some playoff games and is in the Hall of Fame because his team won Lombardis. The impact of winning in the playoffs is everything. It is the perception. You're talking about the actual performance, Mina Kimes. I'm talking about the way we react, not just the media. I'm talking about human beings. Who are the enduring legends of the sport? The people who win it. That's how recorded history works.
Keisha Booty, I thought was excellent in the last round. And it's so funny because Dominique and I were trying to comp for him, and every comp I came up for him and the way he's playing right now was a guy who was like 6'4" and up, and he's 5'11", which I think is what's really remarkable about the fact that he's making these contested catches, you know, deep against like man cover. He's really, I think, proven to be a reliable downfield target for Drake May. And you go up against defense that loves to play man coverage in Denver. I think his ability to get those one-on-ones, like, can't you just see it now? It's the 4th quarter. Somehow they get him on Riley Moss, poor Riley Moss, pass interference in a key moment. He reels it in anyways. I've been so impressed by him.
Mina, Mike Vrabel is in a position.
Danny White did one of the hardest things a person can do, which is take over for a legend. Only Mr. Furley did it better, perhaps for Mr. Roper. In 1980, he and Drew Pearson hook up to vanquish the Atlanta Falcons and fall to the Philadelphia Eagles, who wind up in the Super Bowl. In 81, he only loses because of the catch to Dwight Clark and Joe Montana. He could have gone to the Super Bowl where he would have beaten the Cincinnati Bengals. And in 82, he gets hurt in RFK, and they lose with Gary Hogaboom under center to Joe Theismann in Washington. He would have been a Hall of Famer if he gets to one of those Super Bowls and wins it. Instead, he's an afterthought. Don't tell me QB wins don't matter.
This is just like when Gabriella took over for Sharpay in the Spring Musicale.
Were you asking me something about Mike Vrabel? I didn't catch the end of that.
I was, yes.
You finished this question.
Mike Vrabel, the job.
I had some interference.
The job that he's done with so much rookie play is crazy. I saw the stat this weekend. The Titans, the Browns, and the Jets, all terrible teams, are the only ones who have had as many rookies make an impact. Yeah. But those are all bad teams.
Yeah, I think what's I find so impressive and important too, it's the combination of like the rookies and the young players, but I also think a lot of the veterans New England brought in this offseason have really paid off and made an impact, right? In this last game defensively, Milton Williams, who was their big signing, was the big signing, took over the game at various points. Carlton Davis was excellent as well. And then offensively, Stephon Diggs. I mean, that was a signing that a lot of people questioned, 32 years old or 31 or something, coming off the ACL, and he's been pivotal. So it feels like a roster that's really well. I'm not just saying that Mike Vrabel himself has done a great job, but I also think when I watch the Patriots roster, to me, is really shining. You see how well put together it is.
the Brandon Cooks catch, non-catch.
Almost no one under the age of 40 could tell you anything about Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. Why? Because he never played in a Super Bowl. I bet you everyone under 40 could tell you something about Doug Williams. Namely, he won the Super Bowl.
I actually quibble with the idea that people under 40 know the difference between Doug Williams and Dan Fouts. If I was not that they should, but I'm just saying if you surveyed people on the street, I would guess.
And
pretty similar.
there we park our cars in the same garage. End of argument.
There is one difference.
How say you?
The
Dobbs
Brandon
played for the
Cooks,
Chargers.
the Brandon
That's the
Cooks
difference.
catch, non-catch. How say you?
I thought it was an interception. I've watched it a million times. In the moment, I was like, damn, very close, hard to tell. Felt very, I didn't feel like I saw a good camera angle in the moment that clarified for like exactly when the ball was being jarred loose. But upon like seeing more angles of it, I agree with the argument that if the DB wasn't there and the ball had started coming out at the same time because of air, right, it would have very clearly been an incompletion. And I think when you think about it through that frame, you can see why it was called an interception.
I can understand that. Why isn't the DPI a bigger talking point? I thought that was brutal.
On Trey White?
Yeah, I didn't think that
Dude, that was textbook DPI.
their
What are you
whole
talking about?
offense, that
He
entire
was
second
brutal.
half, like we can't bail out this offense every time. Their entire offense is give us a DPI.
He
It
was
just a
hugging him like
bailout.
Zac Efron hugged Vanessa Hudgens in
Yes!
That happened. I'm
That's
totally
what
guessing
I'm
that.
talking about.
That was a guess.
Mina, thank
It's
you.
accurate.
Thank you for being on with us. She's the host of the Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny. I strongly suggest that you listen to it. It's got a lot of good nutrients in it. Thank you, Mina.
Bye.
I also think it's fair to say after this Bills press conference today, and crazy to say, that if Cooks makes that catch, McDermott's still the coach. Obviously still the coach in this game, but he's going to continue coaching the Bills after that. That's nuts, right?
Yeah, they probably would have stick to the status quo.
They tried really hard.
You want to end the show with High School Musical. That's how you want to end the show here.
It's Lucy's last show for the week.
Happy New Year, everybody. 2026 is already getting off to an incredible start because you want to know how I rang in the new year? It was with a bunch of friends in a Dallas hotel lobby bar ordering a bunch of Miller Lites because that's how you do it. That's how you make special memories. Miller Lite has been by my side at many special football memories this year, and hopefully we get to write a few more memories with Miller Lite. Some of my most legendary moments have started that exact same way. A buddy's house, a lobby bar, a game, no big plan. And then you crack open a Miller Lite, you take a sip, and you look around, and you immediately recognize that you made the right call. You're locked into the game, the conversation, the moment, not thinking about what you're drinking. Miller Lite just fits. Clean finish, refreshing, brewed for taste with simple ingredients like malted barley. And at 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces, it never weighs you down. Legendary moments start with Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Against the spread. Against the spread. Against the Spread is brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Greg Cody, what do we got?
Okay. Playoff semifinals, NFL, AFC championship game, Broncos at home getting 5.5 points. I don't care that Bo Nix isn't playing. Broncos and that defense at home getting 5.5. Thank you very much. Taking it.
It's not bad. Not bad.
Really?
Not bad.
I don't like it. All right, Mike, what do you got?
So the Anaheim Ducks had a mid-season hiccup. They really dipped, but lately they're turning the corner. And we got a marquee game in the NHL between the Anaheim Ducks and the Colorado Avalanche. And the Colorado Avalanche have been an absolute wagon. So you can get Anaheim plus 1.5 for a pretty decent price. I think they cover that spread.
Oh, give me this.
We got Juju here with us. Juju, how you doing? Good to see you.
What's happening, family? How y'all doing down there, man?
Anything stand out to you today from our Looks Like game with Tim Kirchin?
Yeah, man, I was thrilled earlier this week whenever the announcer at the Phoenix Suns game, I think versus Brooklyn Nets, said that every time he sees Grayson Allen, he can't help but think of Ted Cruz, and now I cannot unsee it.
Pretty spot on.
He looks just like him.
No, they look exactly alike. It's kind of scary.
Like, this isn't the first time, because I know what you're talking about there, Juju, where they were having fun with it. It was as if it's the first time they've noticed. I feel like we've seen this for years.
It was my first time noticing.
Oh, really?
Imagine, right? It's like noticing for the first time that Rick Carlisle looked like Jim Carrey. You'd be like, holy moly, where was I?
Yeah.
Lucy Rodine looks like Margot Kidder.
I had no idea who that was.
Oldest reference.
Literally no clue. He said that, and I was like, that could be
From
anybody.
Superman? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was told I sound like her, too.
And sounds like her.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I
She
Jay.
was famous before cell phones.
And I hear it.
I saw a video of her shoot Superman with a gun. I said, cool, I'm okay with that comparison.
Yeah.
We're spiritually aligned.
All right, I'm interested in this, Juju. So we brought up Robert De Niro. Well, Dave brought up Robert De Niro. Rocky and Bullwinkle, right? Everyone remembers, great movie. But you have a top 5 weakest De Niro movies?
Yes, sir, man. The top 5 weakest Robert De Niro movies
into
he
this.
ever touched the set of. That I could think of, guys. Oh, well, lie. Hands of Stone. In that movie, Sugar Ray Leonard was played by Usher Raymond.
I don't even know that movie.
I'm learning about this for the first time.
I'm a big movie guy.
Right. Also, OLI, The War with Grandpa. I was watching some kids and we popped that on. I was like, come on, man. This is the brother from Heat, man. What are we doing? Number 5, Grudge Match. Robert De Niro versus Sly Stallone at 80 years old each.
That was a really bad movie.
Sounds horrible.
It was. I mean, the gambit is basically like this is Raging Bull versus Rocky, but they're old now. But it was just bad.
Number 4, Las Vegas.
I would never watch that. Come on. That's terrible.
Self-explanatory. Number 3, Dirty Grandpa. What were you thinking, big brother? Number 2, The Intern.
Oh, isn't that with Anne Hathaway?
Yeah.
That's no good.
I kind of liked that movie, which is unsurprising, but still.
And the number 1 movie, Dave Damshek said it earlier, man. The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Who does he voice in that?
He's the
I don't even
bad
know.
guy.
He's the
with
main bad guy. He's
eye patch and everything, right?
He's Boris and Natasha's boss.
Oh, wow.
The big heavy.
All right.
Dr. Robotnik.
I've often
Also,
said Robert De Niro is Mike Tomlin and Mike Tomlin is Robert De Niro. You must genuflect to them for their legendary careers. You just have to ignore the last 10, 15 years.
That's fair.
Also, did you guys see last night Tom Izzo scolding one of his players? Like, gave him a quick read. He was like, bruh, you can't guard my mother. Like, my mother. Video team, do you got that video?
You can't guard my mother. My mother.
Incredible quarter zip too.
All right, so he was not having a good defensive game, that player? That's what we're saying?
Right, that boy was behind the bench. But yeah, man. Also, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts, man. Some good college aficionados on it. The NCAA is getting sued by a brother right now from coming to the G League, for trying to go back from the G League to college, you dig? And I wanted to know, like, to me, that seems a bit crazy, you know what I mean? There's a lot of schools doing that now where G League players are going back to college. Mike, what you think about that?
They
bro?
ruled in his favor and do not count Mario Cristobal out to try to get retired NFL players here.
Right, where does it end? Because it's a lot of one and dones that went to Kentucky. Are you telling me that once Tyrese Maxey say, hey, you know what, I've played all I can play, I'm 35 years old, let me go back and get a championship
That would
for
be
the
hilarious.
Wildcats.
That would be great.
Probably got like 3 years old. Really,
I cannot wait for Trent Williams to replace CeCe Mauanoa.
And also, too, Earlier you was telling the Uncle Luke story, man. I got a relatable story about Uncle Luke, man. Uncle Luke just be on the phone playing, man. One day during the Iowa versus LSU game where Caitlin Clark took on Angel Reese, during the game, the LSU was getting a lot of whistles, man. And so I made a meme where the referee had on the LSU colored stripes, and he quote tweeted me, screenshot it. Dan Le Batard Show is racist. Look at this racist post. I'm black, brother. And I did see him at the highlight game, and I told him, I said, bro, that was me posting that. And like you said, in person, man, bro, so lovable and so playing, having a good time. Come on, big bro.
Juju, you got some polls for today?
Yes, sir. I got some polls for you, man.
Wait,
Coming
Uncle
to
Luke
you
came out
live.
to highlight? He was at one of our... I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
That was wild.
And it's always all love. It's crazy. It's always hugs
Right.
and laughing. Hey, man, you got to support us. You know, stop doing that stuff you're doing on Twitter. Mike, you know I love you.
Should we replace bowls with plates?
This is big.
71% of the audience says no.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty
lack
logical.
of vision.
Never had soup out of a plate.
Right. Have you ever eaten a rotisserie chicken in the car? Come on, man. Also, too, man, see it with me every day. Support Football America. You got to know wherever you get your podcasts.
Juju's a patriot. I don't mean the kind
Yes.
with the capital P either. The good kind.
Yes, sir. 72% of the audience, however, have never eaten a rotisserie chicken in the car.
I mean, how do you hold it, Dave, when you do that?
Seriously.
Imagine
You have two hands, right?
hold
Oh,
one
you're the
one
wheel.
steers, the other one gets the chicken, and then that free hand can also be used to dip in gravy or mashed potatoes or otherwise.
you have the chicken in the bag it comes in, and you're like picking the drum off it as you're eating.
Wow, that is white tea.
Have you ever eaten ribs in the car? 76% of the audience says no, they haven't eaten those either.
Wow.
Dang.
Shocking.
Very shocking. Have you done everything in the car?
There it is.
66% of the audience says yes, they have.
The questions could basically be, do you survive or do you live? Give me the latter.
Right. Also, too, side note, I saw on Twitter yesterday, brother, you had commented on this as how the Gilbert Arena show was talking about Jimmy Butler's injury. Bro, quick thoughts on that, bro.
I mean, like they just say things. They say stupid things on that show.
That's
I don't
going
get
around.
it. I don't know any other way to
Yes.
sum it up, Juju. It's like they just say the dumbest things sometimes.
Yeah, but let's not forget how pumped Jeremy was to see Jimmy
It's
Butler
not
get hurt.
true. I don't want this said anymore.
Then
Kaminga
don't
and
say it in the first
Taché
place.
just shaking hands.
Wings or ribs? 93% of the audience says yes because I messed up the poll.
Yet it wasn't unanimous.
Can you trust a person that has never had root beer, olives, nor ribs? 87% of the audience says no, they can't. Are you dancing for the man if you think that Diet Coke is better than regular Coke? 66% of the audience says yes, you are dancing for the man. Come on, guys. Tastes good. And last poll, is hair conditioner a grift brought to you by Big Soap? 74% of the audience says yes, and those are your polls.
I mean, Jimmy got hurt because he's not living right.
And karma.
Strike a blow for the proletariat. We're coming for you, bourgeoisie.